everyone, and welcome to the 20th episode of the Nature's Cozy podcast. My name is Allison, and I'm the maker behind Nature's Cozy, which you can find me by that username. If this is your first time checking out my podcast, this is a making podcast where I mostly talk about knitting. I was going to show a little bit of crochet, but we'll get to that in a few minutes. And books at the end. And if this is not your first time, welcome back. I just want to say thank you so much to everyone who always comes back to watch my videos. I don't think I say it enough, but I really do appreciate it. For every subscriber, every like, every comment, it really means a lot to me. And you know, if you do like this video and if you want to give it a like, it helps me reach out to more people, to more knitters, and who knows, maybe even book people, booktubers. But yeah, so I just want to say thank you so much. I'm finishing up some coffee here. I've been doing pretty good about not drinking a lot more coffee, but today I woke up pretty tired. I almost didn't podcast because I was like pretty tired this morning. But I wanted to podcast anyway. So I have not like a ton to show, but at the same time, a lot to talk about what I have. I guess the first thing I'll mention is that I was going to show you my granny stripe blanket and what I've done so far on that since the last time I showed you, I think back in January. And earlier this week, my cat sometimes likes to eat way too fast. My boyfriend will feed him when he leaves before work, like 5 something in the morning. I usually wake up like an hour after. And it was one of those times where he just ate too fast. And my basket of like minis and my blankets was next to this wicker like trunk that we have that the cats will lay on at times. And there is all of this, well, cat vomit all over my blanket. And it was not savable. It was just gross. And so I put like 8-9 like rows in since the last time we talked, and it was so pretty. Like I'm kind of over it now, but I feel like this is my farewell goodbye to that section of the blanket. I put in all these beautiful like greens in there, and it was like going into all these lavenders, and I was like genuinely so pleased with how that whole section looked. And I had to cut out 12 rows, I counted. So that's not going to be worked on probably for a while. If anything, I'll probably work on my Advent blanket. Last night during knit Zoom sesh, we were talking about Advents a little bit, and I was like, I haven't even put my Sorensen Advent in my Christmas granny stripe blanket. So I think that's what I'm going to do maybe soon. And then once I'm done with that, maybe I'll go back to my just scrappy granny stripe blanket. But yeah, kind of broke my heart there for a good minute. Before I get into the knitting, I think we have a giveaway winner that we need to announce. So if you missed the last episode, I was doing a giveaway, and I asked everyone to kind of comment what they're excited for about spring. And I was giving away these beautiful stitch markers from Nicole of Thyme Weaver. Yeah. And then I made a little bag to kind of go along with it. Just something, like a little spring giveaway. So I have all the names in here. So let's... All right. And the winner is... Oh, Avi, you won! So Avi is one of my wonderful knitting friends. We were Fibre Co partners a while ago, and thanks to her, I got into the Nutiden yarn, which I will talk about very soon. So Avi, I'll just message you on Instagram or tell you tomorrow during our morning knit session. All right, my neighbor was coming up, and I didn't want to like talk while I heard him because sometimes that feels a little awkward. So let's talk about some Nutiden. I was gonna look up how Nicole from the Gentle Knitter said their name, because I'm feeling I'm gonna butcher it. I think it's like Owner Ek Air. They're Swedish company. Last time when I did talk about them, I looked up how she said it, but yeah, so last time I actually made a whole segment. I was talking about this yarn, but thanks to the house that's being built across from me and all the construction, it was really, really, really loud, and I was like, I do not want to put this in the video. So I've been waiting to talk about it until today. So the colorway I'm going to talk to you about today, I believe it's called Vibeke or Vibeke. It's like Vibeke, and I believe it's someone's name, and it is just so beautiful. I hope my camera is just picking up all of the colors, because there is so much depth to this yarn, or I guess technically it's pencil roving. Let's do like a side side here. There we go. Yes, so with this yarn, I ended up getting 6 plates of this. I still have about 2.5. I still have to weigh this. Plates left, which I'm not sure, maybe one day I'll knit color work with this or something like that. As I said, Avi is the one that introduced me to this yarn. I know Melody Hoffman has worked with them quite a bit, and it's so gorgeous. I'm really obsessed. I'm really obsessed. I really want to purchase from their new update. I've bought some yarn already, and Advent season is upon us, so I'm not sure, but there's this beautiful like dark green colorway, and it's like I from looking at it from her videos, because I am a patron of hers, it looks like a deep like emerald, like black emerald. She says there might be like a little bit of blue in there, but it's definitely like more green. And it's so gorgeous, but I'll have to think about it. I have until tomorrow. Today is April 30th. Yeah, so I have a little story about this yarn that I wanted to share with you. So as I said, I am a patron. I am a new-ish patron. I joined in March. So if you are not aware, their Patreon is closed right now, but I think they're going to open it up again at the end of May, because they usually, there's like just certain, there's perks to being a patron, and they don't want, they want people who really who really appreciate like their work and their yarn to like join. And so if you do like love their yarn or want to know more about it, I would highly suggest joining, but you know, again, join for the right reasons. Yeah, so I sometimes have dreams. I'm not like a superstitious person, but I do kind of believe, well, no, I do believe in the law of attraction, even if you don't like see it occurring right away. There's just a lot of things in my life where maybe it took like 7 years to accomplish something, or something to come about, and it ends up being totally amazing and better than what I've expected. There also have been a few times where I've dreamed about things. So for instance, my little cat Moro, my female cat, I saw her at a PetSmart through like this other, obviously PetSmart holds cats from organizations there, and she was in like the same little spot we got our first cat Shadowfax from, and I saw her and I was like, that cat needs to come home with me. She has to be my cat. Like I just felt this really, really strong connection to her. But she had the almost home sign up, and I like inquired about it, and they're like, yeah, the lady's gonna come and pick her up tomorrow, blah blah blah, whatever. And so I actually had a dream about her that night, and I called the next morning on PetSmart, and they're like, yeah, for some reason the lady decided not to actually adopt her. And I was like, Oh my goodness, yes. So I like filled out the application from the rescue online. I went straight to like PetSmart and like she came home with me. Like I had this whole dream. Well, the same thing happened with this yarn, which might seem kind of silly, but that's where we're at. So, sorry, my boyfriend just came home. So if you hear the shower, that's why. I usually always like text him when I'm podcasting, but I was like, oh, he's not gonna come home early from work. It's totally fine. And then he came home early from work. So as I was saying, I had a dream about Nutiden yarn. So I was watching Becky from Soprano Knits. She had she uploaded an episode on her channel talking about this yarn, how to work with it, because it is a pencil roving. So, you know, if I don't know, it can kind of like break off, but then you can just like put it together. I just do this and you know, it's back together. Her video is like kind of talks about it, explains it, why she uses it, like, because if you like super close, like it won't rip. Well, need to, because the fibers are pretty tight when they're close together, so your stitches when you knit with it are tight enough where it's not going to break. And again, she explains this all in her video. So that night I had a dream about it, and I've been wanting to work with her yarn I think since last fall. And I was like, you know what? I woke up, I kept thinking about this yarn because they were having an update, but it was 11:30 at night my time. I'm like, there's probably no way I'm going to be up that late. Even if I like set an alarm, if I'm asleep, I'm like dead. Like that's it. I am asleep. And so I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go on their Patreon. I think it's closed right now, but you know what? I'll just see, because again, AV, she's also a Patreon, and she told me how like they go through all the yarns on their Patreon, how they like the blends, how they make it, you know. My cat wants to be let into the shower with my boyfriend, so let me go do that. This is a little troublemaker. She's the one I dreamed about. So yes, anyways, about the yarn. We might just podcast with the cat. Never mind. I really hope that's the last interruption that I had from this podcast, but at least it was a cute interruption. Anyways, I went on their Patreon. They had a spot open. So someone dropped out of their like $6 tier, and I was like, oh my gosh, yes. So I signed up because I was like, you know what? Even if I don't end up like ordering from them this time around, like I still really want to learn more about their yarn. Like I want to learn about the process. Everything that I hear about this company just seems to align with what I love about wool and what I wanted to learn more about wool. So I did. Now, I'm going to tell you this not because I'm like, yes, you know, go up, sign up for their Patreon. I have a very small community on here, so I feel like it's fine to share this with you on here. And also, if you are interested in their yarn, I just figured I would share this as well. But, you know, never sign up for someone's Patreon for the wrong reasons. You should always want to support them as a maker, and not necessarily like just for some of the perks that you might get. Even though those are really nice bonuses, like you really should be joining people's Patreons because you genuinely want to support them as a maker. So with that being said, they were having a Patreon only update the same day I signed up. And I was like, what are the chances? Yeah, and I guess it was a while since they've done that because people were taking advantage in the past from their Patreon only updates, ordering, I think, for like people, like more of their friends, or I don't know. I don't really know the whole story behind it. I still have to kind of watch all their past podcasts, but I was like, this is awesome. It was like 11:30 in the morning. That was the update. I was like, perfect. And then I was like watching their videos a little bit before the update. And then I found out they were having a Patreon only colorway. And this is my colorway. Please ignore my cat, although she sounds super cute, and I've been trying to video record her meowing when she wants to go into the bathroom because I think it's adorable. So this is actually really good. Anyway, sorry. Focus. So yeah, this was the Patreon only colorway, and it's so beautiful. And I was just like, what are the chances? So, you know, sometimes you really just gotta listen to your dreams, and I'm so happy to be supporting them every month. And I would highly, highly recommend, if you like more like rustic wool, or feel that you maybe want to try to work with this type of pencil roving, go ahead. This is definitely, even though I haven't knit with Plutolopi, I do have 5 plates of it, and this is definitely softer than that. So that is a lot about the yarn. But I just wanted to talk about it because all of that got cut out last time I chit-chatted with you. So since then, I have made a Fluff Nugget cardigan. I think I'm going to insert a clip kind of modeling it, because there's just, I don't have a lot of frame space, you know. So yes, the Fluff Nugget cardigan. This is by Becky. I think her last name is Sorensen or Soren. I'm terrible. She is the person from Sorensen. Becky Sorensen. So she's Soprano Knits. Yes, it is glorious. I love it. I've been wearing it nonstop. So, is this perfect? No. Part of my perfection knitting got a little bit of the better on me here. But you know what? I love it. And I think I actually might make one again in the future with a more neutral color. And now that I know what I know about working with this yarn and picking up stitches, I'll be a little bit more mindful in the future. So that was really where I had an issue, was picking up stitches. So you pick up stitches for like the, it's a bottom up. I should maybe just start there. This is a bottom up cardigan, and she knit this, so the ribbing is on a US 8. It's like a twisted ribbing, and it's a US 10 for, it's a brioche cardigan, so it's a US 10 for like the brioche. I use a US 8 for the twisted ribbing, but I actually went up to a US 11 for my body, and I love it. I think she had 10 stitches per 4 inches, and I'm like 9 stitches per 4 inches, but you know what? It is like the perfect amount of like bagginess. It feels like one big grandpa sweater. I love this thing so much. It definitely grew. So some of the things that I'll try to kind of like show is where it hits me, but originally, before I blocked it, okay, so before I put the collar band on, it sat really, really nice on me. And in the original pattern, she has buttons, but I decided not to do buttons, at least for this one. And sometimes I go back and forth, like kind of wish I did, and other times I'm like, I'm really happy I didn't, because I like that it feels even. Like I don't have, since it's such a lightweight, it's like so lightweight, this like yarn. I didn't want to feel the buttons, and maybe I wouldn't have felt the buttons, I don't know. But I also just like open cardigans. I think though if I make it a second time, I'll probably put the buttons on, because it kind of helps bring the front part, it helps it hold it down a little bit, because it tends to rise up. So in the pattern, which I wish I did, but I didn't, she said to help not have the front rise up, to add, to pick up more stitches around the collar. I didn't really do that. I just picked up whatever. And it definitely, before blocking, it was so high in the top, like in the front. I was like, this is not how it was before I put the collar. And I was like, no. I was like, there is no way I'm ripping this out. Because ripping this yarn out for the twisted rib, because I originally started this on a US no, the first time I started this, I accidentally cast it on for the wrong size. And I was trying to rip it out and the yarn just kept breaking and breaking. I'm like, you know what? I'm not even gonna bother. I'll just give this to my mom because she wants to like make little felting things. Felting like needle holders. Anyway, so I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna start over. And I finished the rib. I was like, there's no freaking way. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to aggressively block this and hope for the best. And I did. And it definitely helped. So yeah, I mean, there are some parts along the collar because I aggressively blocked it. You know, it definitely to me seems a little bit more stretched out. The sleeves at first, they were like here in general. And then after blocking, they were here. And at first I was like, oh man, the sleeves, maybe they're too long. Actually, they were even like longer, but once it dried, it you know, went up a little bit more. And I actually love the length of the sleeves because I can still hold them like this. And my hands get really cold, especially in the winter time. So I love covering my hands up in my cardigan. So that's fine. That's perfect. Yeah, like I said, I think the only thing that I'm really kind of bummed about is I don't even know what happened here. Like, I definitely messed up picking up stitches. And I think as I got higher, I got better at it. But because it's brioche, I think, and because of the properties of the yarn, my stitches were just super loose when I picked them up. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, I knit socks. Picking up stitches, that's not a foreign concept to me. So I was a little kind of bummed that it wasn't as neat as I would have liked it. So that's really the one thing that I don't like about this like my own personal knitting with this cardigan, was that this is just not very neat. But besides that, I love it. Again, I will try to like insert a clip showing you more of like the length of it. And I did also knit 2 inches longer than what the pattern called for. Yeah, so yeah, and I'm not really sure. I don't think this probably really matches my dress, but whatever. So the next project that I had to talk about is actually a test knit that I did for Lindsey of Larkspur Knits. This is, I believe this is maybe like Bags by Eva or Dreams by Eva or something like that. I don't have the tag in here. My mom, whose name is Eva, funny enough, she bought this for me, and actually there's a lot of bags she's recently had in her Etsy shop that I really, really love. So I can't afford a bag right now, but I would love to get another bag by her. She's like ones that kind of roll over. Maybe it's Knitting Dreams by Eva, I don't know. But I'll have it linked down below. I always have all of like my bags linked down below. And in this bag are my spring cottage socks. So I didn't put this on a sock blocker because I actually kind of made these a little bit too long. They still fit my foot, they're just a little bit long. But how pretty is this? So there's some like little eyelids right here. And it's just so pretty. And then you even have this little design. I mean, look at the way my stitches are. You know, like that looks nice. Why couldn't my Fluff Nugget do that? Yeah, so I'm not really sure when she's releasing these. I'm assuming maybe at the end of May, but I don't know for certain. She also has this little like bobble, little bobble cuff, which I gotta fix my bobbles to make them pop more. I ended up using a little bit of a different hook size for my bobbles than what she will suggest in the pattern. Just because I have a whole set of hooks and they were a little bit different size-wise. So I guess like for her, she goes by increments, or like maybe, I don't know, maybe this is normal for hooks to go by like 0.25, 0.75, blah, blah, blah. But mine go by 0.5 and 0. So instead of having 2.75 to a 3.25, I have a 2.5 to a 3. So I ended up going using like a 2.5 hook for these, but I kind of wish I did a 3 for the bobble. US size 1, I knit the women's large, and I think that's all I'll probably say about that until the pattern is released. My cat, as much as she loves me, she is such a daddy's girl. So the fact that my boyfriend is in the bathroom right now without her makes her not happy. Sorry. Anyways, it's a very big cat episode today too, but I feel like Moro doesn't get as much like knitting attention as my other cat Shadowfax does. So maybe this is her time to shine right now. But yeah, so the other thing that I really love about this yarn with the minis is that there's these like beautiful speckles of like pink, and like there's some yellow in there. So this yarn is Playful Day Yarns in the Marshmallow Latte sock set. And so this is the mini that I used. And then this is the main skein. And I love this color. I think it's beautiful. So I'm really excited to start on the second one. I'm currently working on a secret test knit, so I'm going to try to finish up some of that before I cast on the second one. I'm actually doing a lot of secret test knitting these next couple months, so hopefully I still have stuff I'll still have things to show you guys the next time I podcast, which will probably be at the end of May, beginning of June, but I don't know how much, just because again, there's a lot of things I can't show you right now. Alright, so then the last project that I am going to talk to you about is in my Fringe supply bag. I have all these beautiful pins. I'm a Leo, in case anyone was curious. And in this bag, I have my half and half triangle wrap. So the two colors, I guess really quickly, for those who are not aware, the half and half triangle wrap is a free pattern by Purl Soho. Caddy Jack's podcast, Caitlin and Jackie from the Caddy Jack's podcast, they are doing a knit along right now, and it goes until Rhinebeck. And they started, I think maybe last August or September or something like that. And I wanted to do it, and I kept going back and forth about it, and I was like, no, am I gonna wear it? Am I not gonna wear it? But the more and more I just kept seeing them show it off, and then I started seeing other podcasters like Stacy from Stress Knits showing it off. I think Nicole from The Gentle Knitter is knitting one, not with the yarn the yarn that Caitlin and Jackie are using. But still, she's knitting it, and I think I saw someone else talking about it too. But it's like, you know what? I'm just gonna knit it, and I love it so much. So the main pattern, the pattern is knit out of linen quill. That was what they originally knit it with, and that's what a lot of people are knitting this pattern as well with. And of course, I had to get some linen quill too. They did have a sale, and I also had like a general coupon code as well, and so I got a pretty good deal on this yarn. So this is the Rose Granite colorway. It's a really beautiful, like kind of grayish pink. And then this is the Juniper Green colorway, and it's, you know, more like earthy green, like a tree green, like a juniper green. And you can kind of see here that this is more of that linen that's showing through. So The linen quilt is composed of 15% linen, 35% alpaca, and 50% Highland merino, I believe. Yeah, fine Highland merino. It actually took me a little bit to kind of get used to the feel of this yarn. Even though there's 35% alpaca in here, I can feel the linen a lot in here. I think between the wool and the linen. So it's like weird because obviously you can feel the alpaca, but I wouldn't say necessarily it feels rustic, as opposed to maybe like a little rough, but then as I'm working with it, it feels softer. So that could be me just getting used to it, or I don't know if maybe my hands are kind of working the fiber a little bit. But now when I feel this and I actually feel it drapey, like I do feel that alpaca a lot more. So this is what I have done so far. And I started with the pink, of course, because this was just, it seems more spring to me. And I figured by the time I get to the green, I'll kind of be more around my birthday, end of summer, starting to get into fall. So yeah, and then I have this little progress keeper from Maria from Woolen Forest. And I have a long way to go. So this is, oh no, I'm losing stitches. So if you're not familiar with the pattern, again, it's free, so I don't mind talking about it more. You cast on the number of stitches that for whatever size you're working with. This one is 260. And you do short rows. So this is my little marker from Nicole from Thyme Weaver. I don't know what happened here. I'm not missing a stitch. I'm not sure if maybe I accidentally like knit it and then I don't really know what happened, but I'll fix that when I go back to pick it up at the end. But yeah, so you do all of these like wrap and turns, and you essentially do it for all of them. And then once you're done with your one color, then you start going back with your second one, and you start small and then keep going, you know, bigger and bigger, and then you have this massive schlinket. So I am very excited about this. I'm very happy that I decided to cast this on. It's kind of the perfect project for when I need a break from all of my pattern knitting that I'm doing. Yeah, so the other thing that I kind of wanted to share, obviously the linen quilt is also stash, but I also got some stash from Sunday Fibre Co. So this is Elisa's yarn, and this was a one of a kind. I love this green colorway so much. It's so pretty. And then this one is called Cafe. Ooh, Elise, I'm sorry, I'm gonna butcher this. Cafe Alate? I don't know. Here. Anyways, it's this really beautiful, like light brownish colorway, caramely colorway. It's really pretty. Yeah, so I have a plan for this. My original plan, I don't think I'm gonna do anymore, but I'm still gonna do something fun with these together, and I am really excited about them. So yeah, so with that and all the other kind of stash that I showed, I also like to mention how much yarn I've used versus how much yarn I've introduced into my stash. And for April, I am -1. So even though I bought the linen quill and I have the Sunday Fibre Co, because Nutiden was last month, I still am -1. So I think I'm at 272 for my stash. Yeah, still a lot of yarn, but you know, a negative number is still better than a positive or neutral, in my opinion, even if it's only by 1. And then the last knitting thing that I kind of wanted to talk about was the new making magazine. This is my favorite making magazine of all the types of magazines that I purchase. I've talked about them numerous times before. I always like to show them. I just like to point out a couple patterns that I'm really loving from each issue. And so when you first open it up, when I first opened it up, the first pattern that it fell on was this chorus wrap. And it's glorious. It's beautiful. Actually, the more I'm looking at it, it kind of reminds me of The Little Mermaid. Yeah, I want to knit this one at some point. It's marvelous. And then the other one that I really loved was this herbalist tank. I very much really want to knit some sort of like summer top, tank top. I have a little bit of knitting for olive cotton merino in my stash. So I don't know, I'll kind of see how much this uses up. I know Sorry Norland's doing like a new like lighter weight, oh I forgot what the pattern's called, but it's kind of like a tee of one of like her pattern with the beautiful like lace and baubles going on. But yeah, I think this is super beautiful. And I don't know, I know there's also the outline take by Jessie May, so you know, I have options. I think I just saw something else, another pattern that I recently saw that I thought was really pretty too, but I can't think of it right now. So that is all I have for knitting right now. So if you, again, like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Usually now I like to talk about books. I think I'm going to do like a really quick book review because my boyfriend really wants to not be stuck in the room, in the bedroom right now. So I'm going to do like a really quick book review to kind of wrap this up. But if you are not interested in that, that's totally fine. And thank you so much again for just checking out my video in general. So the first book that I completed was The Rest of the Story by Sarah Dessen. You know, again, it was just kind of a book. I was waiting for another audiobook to be available on Libby. And I used to love Sarah Dessen in high school. She was like my favorite author. I was like, I'm just gonna like give her a listen. It's young adult contemporary like romance, and it was everything that I wanted. It was a very good summer, just easy listen to read. It follows this teenager Emma Sailor and her dad and new stepmom are going on their honeymoon, but the person she was supposed to stay with, something happened to them and she wasn't able to stay with them, and so she ends up staying with her mom's side of the family, which she hasn't seen for years. Her mom passed away through like tragedies and stuff, and so you know, it's just kind of like a coming of age. Obviously she falls for a boy, and yeah, it's a really cute just young adult story. If you like that, if you know anything about Sarah Dessen, then you'll know that one. Again, I'm trying to make this really quick. So then the other book I read was Anxious People by Frederick Bachman. That story surprised me in the best way possible. So that I thought that story was going to be something very different from what it was. I heard someone talking about it, comparing it to this other like romance novel I know of about but haven't read yet, and I was like, yeah, like that sounds pretty cool. I mean, literally the cover has like a man and a woman on the cover too, so I thought it was going to be a love story, which if you read it, there's definitely relationship stuff in the story, but it ends up being like this whole hostage situation. I don't really know what else to say more so about the book without giving it away. I was just starting to talk about it and then I accidentally said something. I was like, oh wait, no. But yeah, I think with the book, I actually almost returned it. So I was about an hour and a half into it. I was like, I don't know if I can do this. It took me a little bit to get used to the author's writing, but the more you read about it, the more he draws you in. He can really like capture human complexity and emotions in a very interesting way. And yeah, I would highly recommend that book. And then the last book that I read was The Wife Upstairs by Rachel Hawkins. And this was a book club book for April. And I liked it. I enjoyed it. It's like a little thriller. And it's I haven't read Jane Eyre since high school, which is what, like 13 years ago. I think I read it like when I was a sophomore. And so I kind of forgot. I mean, I remember liking Jane Eyre, but I forgot majority of the plot. I just like a few things I remember. And this is like Jane Eyre, but in the South. And I didn't even like realize like their last name is Rochester, like the man in here. His first name is Eddie. The female, the main character in here, her name is Jane. We were talking about this during book club, and I was like, wow, okay. I knew it was from Jane Eyre, but I didn't like make connections. And there's like other names that are very similar with that too. But I still enjoyed it. Pretty quick read. Yeah, so essentially Eddie's wife ends up dying in this boating accident along with her best friend. And Jane is like the dog walker in this like really nice area, which like really rich area, which Eddie lives in, and they meet and they start, you know, dating and stuff. And it's like, but what really happened to Eddie's wife? And what about Jane's past do we not know about? And so, yeah, I think it's, I mean, maybe if I go back and read Jane Eyre, maybe my opinion of this would change a little bit, but I think like for what it is, quick little like fun thriller read, I think it was pretty good. So that's that. Those are all the 3 books that I finished up since the last time I talked to you. And yeah, if you guys have any, as always, I know no one does, but if you have any book recommendations, I would love if you linked it down below. Also because I need to pick a book for our book club by the end of May, and I would really love some contemporary like rom-com or romance or something. I have books that I haven't read, but my cousin who's part of our book club, she has read them. So I have to kind of like figure out like what else to like what other books to look into. So if you have any suggestions, please let me know. And yeah, I will talk to you all later on. I hope you have a fantastic May. Tomorrow is May 1st, today's April 30th. And I will talk to you later. Have a good one. Bye. Am I still okay to keep going?
Laurel, are you ruining Mom's podcast?
I'm still recording.
How could you do that?
I might leave this in there.